read it up before.
Say it 7 times, you'll have them memorized.
You would think so. We did one episode. What's the club? Hill.
Oh yeah,
Hilltop.
the Hilltop.
Hilltop.
We did one with Lou.
Shut up.
And my brother-in-law Jim Pearsons, who was the treasurer at that point.
Yeah. So I introduced Lou.
Kept on calling him Al.
No, I called him Mel, and then
Mel.
his name's
Mel.
Lou. So for the whole episode, I'm like Lou. We took a break just like we did now. We came back. I'm like, we're here with Mel, and they're like, his name is Lou. So
I gotta. What episode?
You should listen to that one.
Yeah, no, we've had. Oh my god, he's hilarious.
He is.
By the way, that is just. Don't ever go there for one. Like I'll go deliver beer. I'll sit down for one.
No.
Like
They'll send me a text. I'm like,
Yeah,
pint of shot. I'm like, holy Christ! I gotta go.
So
That's
a fun episode.
it's dangerous.
That was a really good episode. Welcome back to the Bar Talk Podcast. I am Andy. I'm here with Carl Heine of New World Tavern and Tolson's Tap and Tavern. I don't think I said where you were from.
No, you didn't last time, but I was going to let it go.
right.
Hello, everybody.
And oh my god, Paul and Steve. Now I got in my own head. 40 Second Brewing Company in Kingston, Mass. We're here recording at their tap room. Beautiful tap room in beautiful downtown Kingston. Is this downtown?
Yeah. It is the
Okay.
downtown core.
Is this the right side of the track or the wrong side of the track? There's a whole.
It's
It depends on who's
it's
listening.
always the right side.
Just don't blink when you're going through it. You might miss the downtown core of Kingston.
Well, I mean, we're in a beautiful old building. How old's the building?
Well, I do know there was a fire here in 1911 that destroyed the top tier. We have pictures of it. That's how old it is. There's been some sort of stories. I think there was a biker bar called Kelly's for a long time.
Before my time.
Yeah. Like, there's...
We know this was a tiling store at one time because we did the renovation on this building, but yeah, it's over 100 years old. From what we know,
It's going to be more than that. I mean, if the
Oh,
fire was in
over
1911.
so it's over.
It's got to
I
be,
said
1870s maybe, 1880s.
Yeah, there's a local historian guy. His name's Mike. I can't remember his last name.
O'Leary.
He came in, put it like on placemats, and got us pictures that has descriptions of where and what things were back in the day. I didn't realize how historical
You know
Kingston
who
was.
lived in Kingston in the 1870s? Nobody.
Nobody.
A couple of pilgrims, maybe. And some bikers.
Bikers.
Yeah. With a horse and buggy.
So, Carl, you had a question about where they got the name from.
Yeah, so where did you come up with not the concept of the brew pub, but the name?
So, I'm originally from Canada, and I took a little hiatus from being an
Oh,
adult.
hey, stop it. Next episode. I didn't know he was from Canada.
Too late. Hey, but I got naturalized with 7,000 of my closest friends at Fenway Park, so I'm
that's
a
pretty
carrying
cool.
member now.
Okay.
Car carrying.
But so I took a break from life and just went and lived in the Bahamas. I was working as a dive instructor. So I worked on a 102-foot motor cat. We did 7-day dive trips out of the Exumas and Luthers. Got to know a little bit of the nautical. I think it was really like 280 days in a row at sea. Then I started working on a super yacht called the Lady Linda. I was a bosun, which meant that I kept the windows streak-free and the teak clean. That was my job. So I just had an affinity for boating, and the other partner, Matt, he owned a 28-foot sloop. So we kind of had that nautical idea, and I'm like, dude, let's 42nd Parallel runs right through Kingston. So we originally came up with 42nd Parallel Brewing Company, which was this logo you see here, right? And we were really happy with that. We were just getting ready to get started, and we were just about to pull the trigger on what you see here, and we got a call from a good friend, Jim Simperman at 42 North Brewing Company in Aurora, New York, asking what our plans were for our branding and logo. And I said, forward the email to Stevie and said, buckle up, boys. But to his credit, it was all amicable. Steve and him went back with a few ideas. We dropped the parallel and the number 42 from it and came up with this. And I got to say, I'm pretty happy with it. But that's where the 42nd Parallel came from. There's a state marker in Kingston that marks where the parallel goes.
Yeah.
And then there's a lot of things that went on the 42nd Parallel over the years. So, it's a good anchor.
And it's funny, like so many people I know
Anchor.
will start something, like, I don't know, a podcast called Bar Talk and never look to see if there's something else called Bar Talk, which there's like 4 of them.
Yeah.
I think we're the only still active one, though. But
And when we started off, we did all of our searches, and there was like a 40 a 42nd something in another
Latitude
country,
42.
and it was a winery. So we're like, well, do we have to worry about that? Should we worry about it? We're a brewery, we're not. And 42nd parallel versus 42 north are very distinctly different.
Right.
But, we were in the midst of building this, covered in sawdust, and getting into a legal battle. It really wasn't an appetite of ours. So, we were able to kind of amicably resolve it by taking the number out and just spelling it out, which, hindsight, initially when we were distributing beer, all the restaurants would say 42nd.
Yeah.
The parallel wasn't used. So it kind of almost forced us into probably a more user-friendly saying, taproom name.
Yeah. I never go, I'm going to New World Tavern. I'm going to New World.
Sorry.
Exactly.
It's the New World Tavern.
It's
sorry.
First of all,
Customers
it's
always right.
the New World Tavern.
Yes.
Because the New World was Plymouth. The New World Tavern, not
Yeah, everyone
the
says New World.
World Tavern.
Just everyone says New World.
Yes.
The elevator just went to the top. I get it. I see what you did there. Yeah.
It's the New World
So
Tavern.
Tavern. Got it. It's New World.
Yeah.
Yeah. No one says tavern.
But yeah, so we're fully trademarked now. We learned that was
All right, so you opened up a year and a couple of months ago.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
What surprised you the most? What happens that you never expected? Tell me the stories.
I mean, I was right out of the gate was surprised. That's the most.
Well, hold on. Let me ask a question. There's you
Just ask me
two
a question.
and two other owners, so there's
Yeah.
4 people altogether. Who did the most work?
Depends what part
So
of the...
Steve says him, because he was the first one to speak.
No, I was going to actually say, it all started off, like we told you, in a garage, Paul and Matt were garage brewing. So a lot of the work up in the beginning was brewing the beer and doing all that type of stuff. And then once we signed the lease here and started the build out, it took on a whole nother undertaking of building this place and doing all that kind of stuff. So it's always been kind of a divide and conquer. I was feet on the ground, during the build out, but Paul was right there and I would text him, say, hey,
You can tell they're new, huh? We
but-
all did everything equally.
with 4 different backgrounds, believe it or not, it kind of happened that way. 2 IT backgrounds, a graphic designer, marketing, and sales, and Matt was kind of in the financial world. So we did really divide and conquer a lot of the nuances of a new business.
And it's funny. It's like people don't really think of that kind of thing when they're starting a business. They're just like, I'm going to start this business with my friends. And when I started mine, I had been down that road before, so I sat down the 2 guys that started Inebriart with me, and I was like, I don't care what the split is. I don't care what everyone's job responsibility is, but we're not leaving this table until we decide it right now, because splitting $5 is a lot easier than splitting $5,000.
Yeah.
And we worked it all out, and everyone was happy, and it still caused issues, but it's just like we had that basis, and they're your friends, but still put it in writing. Cover your ass.
Yeah.
So then you open up to the public.
Yeah.
And if I remember correctly, you had 1 TV?
Actually,
How many they got? Oh,
Was
like
it
4?
1 TV?
We had 2.
I don't think you had the heaters or air conditioners in yet.
Nope, those were in. We had
Were they in?
We had
Yeah.
2 TVs. We had another great partnership as We Print across the street, but we had our menu printed on a big foam board, because we weren't really like, where are we going to go untapped? Are we going to, what route are we going to go for a menu? So we did a nice big design, printed that, and that was mounted on the wall. We had 2 TVs, and that was pretty much it. And found out quickly, okay, the board, you're out of something, it's still on the board. People are like, oh, well, so that's what, and then we did a lot of
Seemed
research.
like a great idea at the time. And then we're like, oh, shit.
Yeah, we're out. So now we're putting black duct tape over, what we
Yeah.
So we figured, and Paul did a lot of research on Untapped and the following and how many people are on Untapped in the South Shore. And it seemed like a right fit for us to go that direction, be digital. And
Because that you can put that menu right up on
the TV.
Yeah. That alone is...
And you can take things off or on. You're out of something is, quick change.
Do people still use Untapped? Like, I remember it used to be huge, but...
I mean, there's a lot of users out there, and I think so. Talking about things that really surprised me is if we were relying on untapped users or hop heads, nothing against them, I'm one.
Yeah.
We'd be out of business already. What really surprised me is how many people said, I'm like 2-minute walk from here. I'm a 5-minute walk. I'm in Halifax. So the local support
Yep.
that really came here, I think.
That they learned from Untold.
Yes,
Is that what
of
you're
course.
saying? No, Untapped. Untapped.
Right.
Right.
Well, those people aren't untapped users. Like they're just locals that support us.
Yeah.
So we're saying the people that aren't your craft beer followers, but hey, there's
Right.
a new tap room in downtown Kingston.
Right.
It's 2 minutes from my house. We're actually coming in and enjoying the environment and coming back and drinking Locals Light or drinking our Pilsner and
Biggest
trying
surprise.
an IPA. And that's kind of our foundation. And yes, every weekend you get 3 or 4 people that come in and be like, oh, we found you on Untapped, or we were
Right.
down the street at Untold or Second Wind.
But it's not a big
And they're
group.
stopping in. And that base is growing as we've been around for a little bit longer. But our core base has really been locals and, people from Duxbury, Pembroke, North Plymouth, and
Yeah.
really just coming, out for a cocktail, or they went to dinner at Solstice and wanted to go for a drink afterwards. And we give them, a spot to be able to kind of continue.
And it's crazy, like that walking distance thing. Is I live in downtown Plymouth, and I love Dylan's. Great food, great people. I never go there because I have to walk by like 40 places before I even get there, and it's just like, this place is so much closer, And it's
And I was surprised at how expensive it is to make beer.
Yeah.
yeah.
I laugh. This is like one of my fucking pet peeves. Oh, it must be nice to drink free beer. I'm like, if you think this beer is free, you're not fucking wrong. This is not free beer.
Yeah.
I think that was one
Although-
of the big surprises.
Our first nitro experiment,
It's Carl's fault.
Carl's fault. So, a little story. On a Monday, we're usually closed, so we're like, you know what? Let's try to figure out this nitro thing. And Paul's the mastermind, figure out how to do the gas and all that kind of stuff. So we're like, let's pour a couple pints, and then we heard doom 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 on the front door. We're locked. And we look and we see Carl like, oh, we'll unlock the door for this guy. So he comes in and we're like,
He's got a key to like every bar. Just
so we're like, do you want? And then I locked it behind him, and I said, do you want to, try our new nitro porter? And he goes, oh, absolutely. Next thing you know, we're pouring, trying to pour black and tan.
4 hours.
And 6 pints later, I'm like, okay, this is a great. The nitro works. Let's make the.
By the way,
announcement.
there's no more nitro.
This is great.
But that first porter, we small batch, and 40 pints in a 6 stool. So I'm sure Paul and I maybe done a.
We've actually put a governor on the amount of nitro Steve and I can drink.
Nice.
Yeah. Okay. Enough. Nitro.
You did, or the what did you call them? Man? The powers that be, or the upper management?
That may have had.
So
Now-
that decision.
You've got a lot of locals that come in, a lot of regulars. Before they were regulars, they were just checking the place out. What stories you got? You love them, you hate them.
You give the Dennis quote.
I mean,
Dennis
Dennis.
Moriarty.
Dennis. A little background on Dennis too, right? He was our first customer before we were even licensed because we had put merch out when we were bootlegging, trying to sell beer out of the garage. Like, hey, here's a 4-pack.
Yeah.
And he just got
Dennis,
this message from Dennis on
He goes,
Facebook.
where
Hey,
can I get your beer or whatever?
I bought a hoodie. We're like, all right, well, Dennis, come on over. And he came over. He brought some beer, some Widowmaker, a couple others, and then we had beer. So he was our first guy in the backyard at the fire pit drinking our beer.
Yeah.
But he made a quote in here on our anniversary party that says, "There's no strangers at 42nd, just friends you haven't met yet."
Yeah.
Which we kind of adopted, and I think that really solidifies our environment here.
Does that friend thing, because I agree, like with my business, I've made so many friends through it. Does it make it difficult where they become friends and then you're like, oh, but now I have to like be the business guy. Now I have to, now I have to shut someone off.
Dennis's
Now I
story
have,
is like, hey, closing time's here.
Yeah.
It's Dennis at the bar. I'm like, you know what? I'll serve one more beer, right?
Yeah.
Does one become 2 and then, do
And
I
he milks
trip?
the last one for another hour.
Yeah, and then I sit on the other side of the bar with them. So those are the the issues you run into there when you have a customer that's become a friend because
Right.
Yeah.
you definitely Carl comes in and
Open or closed, we don't.
Yeah.
Or he closes out his tab and he's like, I'll stay for one more. So, you.
No, my rule is, listen, I try to have a rule that says cash me out now, because then I'll leave. So give me 7 more beers and cash me out. But no, me and the wife come here quite a bit. We bring some friends. We sit at the bigger table. We make our own table. They probably hate us for it.
You guys were keg killers too, but
yeah, keg killers.
Didn't
Yeah,
really
so
want to
tell them
take a
about
photo.
what a keg killer is.
Ah, jeez. So, story on keg killer just organically happened. We hadn't even been open a week, and 4 days in, our first customer, the keg kicked. I'm like, oh, this is a milestone. So I'm like, a friend of mine, I'm like, take a picture. I just want to. It's a good milestone for us.
With an empty keg.
Yeah. With an empty keg. So, I don't know, 6 beers later, the next one kicks, and I just bring the keg in the back, and the gentleman's like, where's my picture? I'm like, oh, man. So I took a picture with him, and it kind of just took off from there. And then I'd say we're about a month in, and Mike Falco had started to bartend, and he goes, we really kind of need to do an announcement when there's a keg killer. It's just, there's so much around it. He's like, we need a bell. And I had a bell in mind as soon as he said it, because the bell that sits on the wall, my dad built a bar in Vietnam when he was in the Marines. And that bell, he would ring anytime a lieutenant came in, and it would be a round of drinks for all the grunts.
Yeah.
And then that bell became my dinner bell on my parents' back deck. And when I bought my house a couple of years ago, I had a bigger yard, so I asked my dad for that bell for, my dog. So, okay, come home. And that bell now sits on the wall in the tap room.
Oh, that's cool. And so anytime a keg's killed, you ring the bell?
Ring the bell and we
take a picture, put it on Facebook, and I'm like, I don't want my picture on Facebook.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
He's turned down a couple.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm just sneaking a couple of drinks here.
But the night he was here with his wife, he graciously posed with the camera.
Yeah, because Jen's here.
Right. So I'm all set.
She knows where he is. So. He's not at the post office or the bank or whatever.
Yeah.
Not so much throughout the year, but definitely around Christmas time. Guys will come in here and they're like, no, God, they'll know that I wasn't Christmas shopping. Do not put that on social media. Fair enough.
Yeah. Or we'll do a delayed post for them.
Yeah.
That reminds me of back in the day, my dad was a big bar fly, and there was no cell phone, so the phone would ring, and the bartender would be like, "Who's not here?"
Yeah.
It was Kevin. I think one of our customers came in during the holidays last December, and his wife and his in-laws were down in Newport looking at mansions and doing some Christmas shopping, and for some reason he was allowed to not have to go and stay home, and he's like, all this time, so he came down for a quick pint. First pint he poured, the keg kicked. He goes, oh no, now she's gonna know. But he took the picture. Plus he gets a text. I thought you were home, doing something, wrapping gifts or whatever. And he's like, he'll never live that story. Tom or Kevin? Kevin, I think.
Yeah, it's funny.
So what drives you nuts about either, I'll say, customers or employees? What are your pet peeves?
I mean,
there's got to be somebody that comes in that just wants your attention all the time, and don't say me.
Yeah.
That knocks on the door when they're closed.
Yeah, we get it. I said not me.
Yeah,
it was a bang.
I was just more of a FBI open up. Right? I think pet peeve for me is witty banter and chatting is always good, but when someone just feels like you're the center of their world. And I have to just say, look, I have to go serve other people. You're not the only person in here.
But
you said not.
We
said
created,
not. It said not come out.
Yeah. We unfortunately, we created that culture where, we chat with everybody. You walk in the door, hey, how are you?
But that's the culture you want.
Yeah. Which is good, but sometimes it's
Yeah.
But we've learned over the past year is hey, hold that thought. And you go to the other side of the bar, pour a beer.
And there's always that problem where you're like, oh, here comes Gary. Oh, here we go. Do you know what you're getting into?
Do you ever feel like you've had to kind of take on a bit of an acting role? Because everyone has bad days, and you're having a bad day. But now you have to be like, hey, Carl, how you doing? And then inside you're like, I just want to sit and not have to talk to anybody. Do you...
Yeah, those happen, but, honestly, there's been days where I get out of work, I'm like, oh, now I got to bartend. But like I said, a lot of these regulars have become our friends. So it's next thing I know, I'm telling, Jonathan, Dennis, whoever it is, I'm like, dude, my day sucked today. I hate corporate America.
Yeah.
So we get to vent too. They're our friends now. Yeah. I wouldn't do that to someone who walks in for the first time, obviously, but I have had evenings where I'm the one like, oh man, so.
That's always fun when you're sitting at the bar and the bartender comes over. Oh, this fucking guy, come in. I can't fucking stand him. And you're immediately like, ooh.
Don't sit over here. Don't sit over there. Oh, shit, he sat over there.
If I do this, right, and touch my hat, you got to call me over.
Yeah, I've actually, I was at the BBC one day and there was this girl sitting next to me. Totally chatting me up, whatever. My phone goes off. It's Baby Jack on the other side of the bar. She goes, run. She's crazy. And I'm like, ooh. Oh, look, my friend just came in. Excuse me a second. Yeah. And it's like that kind of relationship is just awesome. Yeah.
And then, I don't know, as far as staff goes, we've been really fortunate with staff, but there's some that don't bartend as often and, they'll turn the gas off or they don't know the new protocols.
Leave the dishwasher on.
Leave the dishwasher on or, leave the flag out, the open flag, But usually that just goes into our text chat and it's kind of we start heckling each other.
What was the like obvious thing you forgot? I know Carl told the story a bunch of times on opening night when the first check started coming back. Servers were coming up being like, "Hey, there's no cash in the drawer."
Yeah. So when I first opened, I never put change in the drawer. Never thought about it. Never. People like, I get a change for $100.
Ooh. That was.
Yeah, we probably could have put some money in this drawer.
Yeah.
We're getting much better at that. I did well because I worked in a bar. I was like 20 years. That was my life in Canada before I moved here. But I was aware of float, so we had it. But if I'm not in, and we don't. That's the one thing. Pet peeves is like, fucking tell me if you got no ones in the drawer, right? Because Steve and I can go make change, but I can't Sunday at 5 o'clock.
Yeah, not when we're opening and it's like, oh, I got no singles. This is a great start, and then we're running over to 8-3.
I used to get the text, hey, we're out of quarters. What should I do? Well, give them 2 dimes and a nickel. I mean. Really? And then, we get the police because, somebody tripped and fell and hit their head or whatever, and I hear nothing about it for 3 days. And they're like, oh, yeah, the police were here the other day. I'm like, really? And you're texting me about the quarters?
So, usually when we record 2 at a time, and we get into questions and answers. I have a question for you guys, and I don't know how it's going to pertain to you, but I'd like to hear Carl's answer. So, I was out the other night, and some guy came up, and I heard him talking to another patron, and the term California sober came up, which I fucking hate. It's like, you're just a pothead. Just say you're a pothead. There's nothing wrong with being a pothead. And he ordered a ginger ale. And then the bartender was like, oh, don't worry about it. And that whole don't worry about the soda thing kind of came out of the designated driver. But now you have more and more of your customers that aren't purchasing alcohol but are still drinking. Do you think that don't worry about the soda going to go away?
No. So if we're sitting at the bar,
okay,
and somebody gets a soda, I don't charge them for it because they're either need it, or they just want to kind of take a break between drinks. Which, you want a Coke? Here's a Coke. If there's a table and they all get Cokes before their meal, then I'm going to charge them for the sodas. I mean, it's still a cost. Yeah, I still have to buy all the sodas.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So you have someone who comes in who's not drinking.
If somebody's not drinking, I would charge them for it. Now, if it was somebody that was a regular, maybe not. If hey, listen, I know he comes in, twice a week or once a week, and he buys booze and buys the drinks, and just tonight he's just drinking ginger ale for whatever reason, I might not charge him.
Yeah.
But I don't see that going away. I do see a lot of people drinking less. And my guess is because of the edibles and they can smoke marijuana, and the young kids just aren't coming out as much as they did when I was young, that's for sure. But I don't know how to combat that. But giving out a soda is, if that's the only thing you're giving out, you're doing all right.
Yeah. Do you guys ever run into that kind of issue here?
We don't have soda.
Yeah.
So it's water or beer or seltzer. Yeah. But I used to...
And a seltzer's alcoholic. So it's really just alcohol or
water.
Have a water.
Yeah. We are going to start carrying NA beer, and it's not like I'm probably a case the last three months, right? It's not like we rip through it, but I would charge for an NA beer.
Oh yeah,
for sure. Yeah.
But
and it's the same price as a regular beer.
Yeah, and when I was bartending, right, soda is like your discretionary kind of promo, right? I don't care. Obviously, to your point, you got a table of people drinking them, you bring them in. But if someone comes in, they order a soda, and they've had 3 beers or whatever, I'm not going to throw that on.
Yeah. I mean, it was more that this guy was like, I don't drink.
Yeah.
because I'm stoned.
Yeah. And then
fine.
refills aren't free if you're just
Yeah.
coming in to drink. Like, it's
But
not a bottle.
we don't see that a lot. I don't see that a lot.
Yeah,
People
okay.
coming in that are not drinking because they're stoned. What are they doing at the bar?
Being social.
Go socialize some wrong.
Okay.
Words by Carl.
Cookie sheet.
Yeah. All right. Christy says she's seeking insight, good, bad, all of it, on partnerships with landlords, rent based on sales percentage, definitely with a cap. The idea is, of course, to bring the space we're moving into to its fullest potential.
Okay, the problem with that in Massachusetts is if you pay a percentage of your alcohol sales rather than a flat fee for rent, then that owner or landlord has to be ownership on your paperwork.
Oh, so
They have
have to be an owner.
They have to be some sort of ownership if you're paying them a percentage of your sales. Now, if you didn't serve alcohol and it was a percentage of your food sales, I'm not sure if that's the same situation.
Yeah.
But if he says, hey, listen, I'm going to take 10% of all your alcohol sales as rent, then he has to be a pot owner on paper.
Yeah.
Massachusetts, anyway. I don't know how it is anywhere else.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah.
Learn something here. Thanks, Carl.
Carl kind of knows some stuff sometimes.
Yeah.
He's been around for a little while.
Made a few mistakes.
He's been around since the New World. You didn't
That's the 43rd parallel,
How dare you?
other side of the tracks. All right, next question.
I'm working on it.
TikTok.
Hey, I told you this was.
Are we on TikTok? We should do a TikTok thing.
We are on TikTok.
That's
No?
getting.
Yeah,
that's getting banned.
there's
I
like
might
5
have to
days
follow
left.
you if you go on TikTok.
Yeah.
I hate that platform. This isn't on TikTok, is it?
No.
Don't worry.
I have a question.
The day drinking was, but again, it's kind of going away. So we also have a YouTube show called Bar Talk Day Drinking,
Day
Oh, boy.
drinking.
It's not
I
good.
had a quote. God, 20.
which you never responded. We're gonna be on the next one.
I always said I like day drinking more than night drinking, but I love drinking into the night. And that was like our happy hour after work. We'd be all day drinking still. It's like 4:30, and it's like next thing you know, it's 7:30.
Yep.
Day drinking's the best if you can just curtail the leading into the night drink.
Yes.
That's-
See, the thing is, so we decided we were gonna do the show, and it's 3 pairs of people trying 4 different cocktails, and we start recording at 10:30 in the morning, and it usually wraps up around 1. And then by that point, people are generally too drunk.
Well,
And I'm
that's
just
not
like,
true.
let's go get
So
lunch.
we do the day drinking. And I don't know if this is good podcast, but we do the day drinking. And by the time the day drinking is over, you're feeling really good. And you're like, well, let's go. Let's go to the bar. Let's have another drink. And then it just goes.
Yeah. I've literally gotten
Right
home
downhill.
I've literally gotten home at 10:30 at night and been like, that's just...
People won't do day drinking with us because they're like, nope, I did one last
Yeah.
time. I'll never do that again.
Yeah.
I would.
And then other people are like, why don't you do that as often? I'm like, because it ruins a day. Like, completely ruins.
And I don't think Aubrey's spoken to me since.
I haven't seen her. I think she's getting married.
I feel like this is just something we need to do. We've been practicing. a lot.
Okay, well, we
Yeah.
have a recording coming up. We'll talk.
Yeah.
All right. Is there a way to incentivize staff for products sold? I mean, I don't know if that's a brewery thing.
Well,
I feel
I
like
mean-
that's more like a restaurant.
I would say like Sunny, the taproom manager, right? We want to incentivize her to stay. So like if she organizes, not really like a sales thing, but if she organizes events in the taproom, right? She can keep like ticket, percentage of that kind of organize. Because that's something we wouldn't have had.
Yeah.
So I think
Yeah.
incentivize. That's one thing we've come up with for her.
In my youngest actually is starting a new job today, and it's not even. Sometimes it's just the most basic incentives. Like they're leaving the job that they had because they were getting paid late, and then the place they worked was like, "Well, why are you leaving?" And they're like, "Because you're paying me late. Like this is not. Well, we thought we were doing better." And they're like, "Yeah, but the last time was the week before Christmas. It's just like it's. I always got paid, but." It's sometimes it's just that basic, treat them fairly,
That's a big. I love
they're
the job.
people and not slaves. And
That's one thing you can't be late on.
Yeah.
Paychecks
Not
are
at all.
kind of important.
Carl, what do you got?
You're doing shitty with the questions.
I know. I told you. You sprung this on me.
I have a question for you guys. Can I ask
Go ahead.
it?
Sure.
So, well, actually, two-parter. How long have you been doing this podcast?
7, 8 years.
So what is the most surprising thing you've uncovered during the second podcast where you dig into a little bit of nitty-gritty? Like, just blew your mind over the last...
So I will tell you, this whole podcast was sort of Carl's idea. He mentioned it as a joke.
What idea doesn't he come up with?
Yeah.
Speaking of customers, he's told me so many great ideas that I can't remember any of them. But
Yeah, me neither.
So me and my business partner were like, oh shit, that's a great idea. We should do that. And so, of course, you can't cut Carl out. This is an idea. We brought in some other people. And we were doing a question, and it was, I remember specifically, and this was when I was like, oh shit, Carl's like this weird like boomer genius. Where the question was, how would you handle it if customers came into your restaurant and requested a specific gender server? And so everybody immediately like gets, their ackles up and like, that's bullshit, I'd throw them out, blah, 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 blah. And Carl's like, hang on, what if it's a Hooters? And it was just like that simple, like completely different, and it became one of the most interesting conversations I think we ever had. It was just Carl being like, don't get so automatically defensive. There are kind of these potentials for everything. And it's... Now I complimented Carl and I feel dirty.
Nope. There's a reason why people do things. There's a reason why people go out of business. It's tough. The business is tough. I mean, I think it's slower now than it ever has been. And, you try to come up with every single reason why, but it doesn't bring people in the door. Do they know about us? Well, I've been there 14 years. Well, they're not coming in on Wednesdays anymore. What are they doing? Is anybody else doing anything? Well, everybody else is slow on Wednesday. Well, that's great, but that doesn't help me pay the bills. So I think the business now is slower than it's ever been. So now it's, what can you do different to bring people in? And for the people there's restaurants out there that do 10, 20, 30 times the amount of business I do, and they're still packed on a Wednesday. What is it that they're not coming into me for? And that's what you got to figure out. Is it your food? Is it your drinks? Is it the bartenders? Is it just nobody's going anywhere? When you walk around, and I'll, say downtown Plymouth, if we're slow, I walk around, everybody's slow. And when we're busy, I'm not walking around because we're busy. So it's tough to say what you could do to bring people in. Now, we've tried everything from every kind of event you can think of, to trivia, to, we had speed dating, comedy.
Yep.
Everything.
Hold on.
Speed dating?
Oh, yeah.
Speed dating?
Oh, yeah.
I need to know more about that.
So, right now, the big thing is board game speed dating. It's
Monopoly and dating?
Well,
you put something in front of them, so you have something.
Yeah,
I think it's more like, it's not like, so I think you play Jenga.
I think it's more like Jenga, Connect Four, fairly quick. Monopoly is way too long.
Yeah, start stealing my money, right?
This
is out. This speed date's over.
There you go. That's funny. But I see that at a lot of places now. A lot of places. But it is, and it's,
we did Dirty Family Feud.
And the first one was a dud, and the second one crushed, is what I heard.
Yep.
And I mean, that's what we do all the time, is like, people are always like, oh, you know what you should do. And they're like, oh, I went to this chunky knit blanket thing. And I'm like, yeah, but someone's already doing that. Like, I don't want to do the thing that someone else is doing. I don't want to fight against someone else. So we try to find different things that people aren't doing and capitalize on that. And if it works, it's great. If it doesn't, then we pretend like it never happened and just move on to something else. And
sometimes you don't sell any tickets, and all of a sudden you sell 50.
Yep. And I hate how much we have to be relying on social media, but that is still the number one way we get ticket sales. And it's
talk about full-time jobs, though. Like, Steve's on probably like 25 hours a week, maybe more. It's ridiculous. Like, you can't. That's
you're on, and then you're not on at the same time, because people are like, did you see what so-and-so posted? I'm like, no. Like, I'm not on there to look at stuff.
But then, like, we posted something at Bolson saying, oh, this musician's coming in on January 1st, January 1, blah, blah, blah. It was great. We sent it out. It was supposed to be January 11th. Now, I'm getting text from my landlord saying, I think this is a wrong post, a typo or something. You might want to take care of it. I'm like, what is my landlord doing on my Facebook? You know what I mean? Like, but he was the first one to come up and say, you might want to change it. I'm sorry, it was supposed to be the 11th. We changed it and it was fine. But we would never caught it.
Yeah, I get this stuff all the time.
Yeah.
And it's trying to crack the code of like how Facebook wants you to post, but they won't tell you.
Yeah.
And I always say it's like being in a relationship with Facebook, being like, why are you mad? Why are you just tell me you're mad at me? Why are you mad? And we had a dismal second half of last year, and it turns out because social media now, if you put a link in your post, it buries that post because the link takes traffic off of the social media app, and they want you to stay on as long as possible.
Yeah.
And so we create the post, and then we put ticket link in the comments, and then you put the first comment with the ticket link. Night and day difference.
Yeah.
Like overnight, we're back to where we were.
That's crazy.
Well, speaking about comments, what about reviews? What do you guys do with reviews? Do you answer every review? Do you look at every review?
I should probably do more. We do spawn on the Google reviews, and I go in and toast a lot of Untappeds, toast and stuff. But I think one of the things, and Steve will correct me or chime in here, talking about like figuring out social media. Steve and I are doing a brew day. It was just me and him, and they're doing some stirring. And there's this guy that does voiceovers for everyone on Instagram, and it was a spiel about how beer is healthy in moderation and a couple things. And it was just, that's all it was. It was kind of a joke. And Steve goes, "Dude, did you see the post? It got 2.5 million views or something."
Yeah.
And our followers, you can take it from here, but it was like, what had happened is all the people that thought that we were promoting alcoholism and multiple sclerosis,
Alcohol is healthy for you, and drinking a certain amount
so
of days.
angry.
Yeah.
And there was lovers of the post and haters of the post, but it was trending and trending and trending. And every day I opened up Instagram, I was like, all right, what is going on here? And it was like,
we get that with we do bong paintings, and every once in a while we'll post in like a town group or whatever, and someone's like, oh, blah, 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 and these druggies, and then someone comes back, they're like, it's medication, and I'm like, yes, argue, yes!
Yeah.
Because all it does is drive, interactions and engagement. And
It blew me away, though. There was like all over the world people arguing about how we were promoting alcohol.
And some of it can be really dangerous, because like I know that some people have gotten kind of on the wrong side of those kind of posts, and then you have people from all over the world leaving you reviews, and you're like, you're in New Zealand. You haven't been here.
Right.
Yeah.
What are you leaving?
But I don't think you ever never really reacted to any of the comments.
Yeah, you
No,
can't.
I don't. You can't, because you're just going to get in an argument with somebody that's looking to argue.
Yeah, the best thing you can do is be like, I'm sorry you had a bad experience. Please contact us directly.
Yeah.
That still blows me away to this day.
And there's no way to plan it. It just has to happen.
I mean, at Tolson's, we just had a review. It was a 1-star review. And then I looked on, you click on the person, you can see all the reviews. All they do is put 1-star reviews on every restaurant they've ever been to. I'm like, all right, you can't help that stuff.
Yeah.
But one of the things that he said was, I believe it was him, was you can get better food at a titty bar. And I'm thinking,
What do you eat?
where is he going? Exactly.
Yeah.
Where are you going?
Hey, you spent a lot of time down in Rhode Island.
I don't know. But there was no reviews of the titty bars.
And it's. I mean, we've talked at nauseum about Yelp, and us telling someone the story the other day about the guy who cracked the Yelp code. He put out a table tent and said, "Leave me a 1-star review on Yelp, and I'll give you a 10% discount." And so, if you go on Yelp, you read either the 5 stars or the 1 stars. You don't give a shit about the middle.
Yeah.
So this guy got nothing but 1 stars. It was all like, great place, don't miss it. Fantastic food, check it out. So he became like the lowest rated restaurant in town, which obviously people are going to go, like, ooh, this is interesting. Yelp reached out and said, you can't offer a discount for reviews. He's like, good, take me off the site. And well, we're not going to do that. He's like, then shut the fuck up. Like, what do you, I'm doing it. I don't care.
Yeah.
And I'm like, he
Wow,
cracked the system.
genius.
Yeah,
That's
I'm like, he just
phenomenal.
cracked the system.
But there are some bars that I heard about that would be, like you don't have Bud Light on tap. Yelp calls them and says, oh, we want you to promote, spend some money on advertising on Yelp and all that. And they said, nope, not interested. The next day they said, oh, I went there, the Bud Light on tap was warm and blah, blah. It was a bunch of crap that he didn't even carry. So what's going on there?
Yeah.
But, yeah, you can't make everybody happy. Some of them are just idiots, and some are, informational.
Yeah.
But I don't respond to any of them because I'm just going to get into that. They're going to respond, you got to respond. They're going to respond, you got to respond. Just
He's got the time for that.
It's not a conversation anymore.
no.
But where can people go to follow your brewery on social media? Figured we missed that last time.
Yeah, so on our Instagram, it's 40 Second Brew Co.
Yeah.
42ND Brew Co. And then Facebook, if you search for 40 Second Brew Co., it'll pop up and you'll find our tap room. So those are our two biggest platforms. And then we have a website also where you can go and see pictures of the tap room and, make reservations if you want to, book this place for a private event. And there's a contact link there for, and you could, find our merch and, what we have on tap and things like that.
And now, what are your hours?
Typically during the week, we're 5 to 10, Tuesday through Thursday, and then the weekend we extend our hours a little bit and we open up earlier, like 3:30 on Fridays. 3:30 till 11 is typically our hours on Friday, and then Saturday and Sunday we open at noon both days, and we close, really depending on the audience, but typically 10:30, 11 is our closing time on Saturday and Sundays. So, which is nice because around town most places are closed at 9:30, and us staying open the next hour and a half gives people, to have a nightcap after dinner or something like that, which has worked out pretty well for us. So
It's cool because we're licensed till midnight, though. Yeah. So it's like, I don't have to keep you out.
Stay a little
There's
late,
a full bar, right? I'll lock it.
Yeah.
I don't want anyone new coming in at 11, but, I'm not going to have to kick you out.
like on a Wednesday, if the bowling league comes in and there's 15 guys sit at the bar,
Right.
That's a night we'll extend our hours, obviously. So.
Nice. Well, Carl, last call.
Last call.
So this is part of the episode where we go around and promote whatever we want to promote. And I'm going to start with Carl again.
All right, I will say support your local businesses, especially your local breweries, your local restaurants, your local bars, whatever it is that you're into. But, support the little guy.
All right. I'm going to take a page out of Dan Mahoney's book and shit on something instead of promote something, and fuck dry January.
Oh, damn, that's a good one. Well, it's Quitters Friday just happened, so I think we're going to get some.
I mean, really, if you need to sober up for 1 month out of the year, like maybe you should sober up all the time. And it's my birthday month, so you can still come out and have a drink with me. Paul.
I'm going to support your fuck dry January. 100%.
Yeah.
I'm going to endorse that. Who else am I going to go with here? I would say support, like, for us, you support your local sports organizations. I think putting money, it's tough as a brewery to support children's sports, I guess. Right. But we do, at least the adults that run those leagues, I think it's important in your first responders. Like, I think those are the things we've identified that we want to support inherently in Kingston, and it's been great. We got some good relationships with that.
Yes, Steve.
Oh man, can I support what I supported in the last call?
Sure. It's your last call. You do what you want.
Again, I think supporting local businesses. There's a lot of great businesses here in Kingston, but even in the South Shore. From restaurants to breweries to salons and things like that. So support when you can, when it's local, and get out and have drinks and dinner and screw dry January.
All right, guys, that is the episode. You can find us at Bar Talkcast on all social media, and you can email us at bartalkcast@gmail.com with your questions, complaints, and hate mail. And we'll catch you guys next time.
See ya.
Thanks, guys.
Cheers.
And thanks for checking out the show today, listeners. If you enjoyed the content today, you can go over to patreon.com/inebriart to support the show. You can join over there for just a few dollars a month and help us provide this fun content that you just checked out. You can also email us at inebriart.com with your questions, complaints, and concerns, or you can find us on all social medias at inebriart or at inebriart6 on Instagram. And also don't forget to check out our other shows, Bar Talk Podcast, Old Colony Cast, Inebriart, and all the other shows on the Inebriart Network, which you can find at inebriart.com. Thanks again for listening.